Okay, now for our last presentation before lunchtime, which means after this presentation you get to go and eat lunch, and I get a nap. I bring to you Mr. Jack Roper and his paper, Moral Dilemmas of Leadership.
Moral dilemmas of leadership. To ensure the protection and welfare of society, public leaders are faced with moral dilemmas every day. Their decisions will comfort, shock, appease, offend, delight, anger, strike fear in people, cause deaths, save lives, grow and ruin economies, bring about peace, or plunge nations into war. True leadership means facing moral dilemmas and responding resolutely, regardless of the inevitable backlash. Anything less demotes the leader as to a glorified manager who will forever be enslaved to pandering to the masses. The Odyssey, three Theban plays, Plutarch's Lives, and the Bible show leaders who apply these principles for benefit, and leaders who fail to do so and suffer the consequences. Leadership can be defined well as leading a group towards the same goal. As the Civil Air Patrol defines it, leadership is the art of influencing and directing others in a way that will win their obedience, confidence, respect, and loyal cooperation in achieving a common objective. This definition creates 5 main qualities that make a leader. The first principle being able to influence and direct followers to reach a common goal together. Someone cannot be a leader without being able to lead people to an objective. The second principle is being able to win a follower's obedience. The obedience to follow the leader and trust them in everything. The third principle is winning the followers' confidence in the leader and their decisions. The fourth principle is to win the respect of your followers. Someone cannot become an effective leader without respectful viewership. The fifth and last principle is being able to win your followers' loyal cooperation in every decision. Leaders successfully implement these principles or miss the mark and pay the price, as seen when the hubris of Oedipus creates a chain of events that destroys his authority as king and breaks his trust with his people. Odysseus, the main character of the Odyssey, has many difficult moral dilemmas as a leader of the shipmen. One example of this is when they are on the island of Aeaea. There is a goddess sorceress named Circe who drugs the men and shut them in a pigsty, bodies, voices, heads, and bristles, all swinish now. The minds were still unchanged. She returned them to their formal forms and was a great host She returned them to their formal selves and was a great hostess. She told them to bring the boat to the sand and return. She wanted to have Odysseus to her bed. So she enticed and won our battle-hardened spirits over. He would need to choose to either be faithful to his wife and endanger his men, or be unfaithful to his wife. He had a moral obligation to stay faithful to his wife, but also had an obligation to keep his men safe. He stayed at the island for 1 year, but then went at the request of his men. His wife is even a better example of someone with a moral dilemma. She waited for her husband for 20 years. She never heard any news of his death or anything else. Most people considered him dead. However, she kept hope. The decision to wait for her husband to return, even for such a long period, or assuming his life was taken over, is morally difficult. She was leading herself in this situation, making herself a leader. A leader has self-control to be able to lead himself and in turn others. You can see an example of Odysseus doing this when he says, "On second thoughts I refrained, realizing I would seal my men's and I's fate as well as his." This is him realizing consequences his decisions may inflict, which also shows forward thinking. This also requires an amount of strategy. Odysseus also shows leadership